Hey guys, welcome back to Clownfish TV. This is Neon. I am here with Geeky Sparkles.
Hello.
It's time for a Bat Bombshell.
I mean, I'm not that surprised.
Ruby Rose, who was the original Batwoman, she lasted a season. She has unloaded on her working conditions. This apparently is why she left the show the way that she did. There was a lot of speculation. She did talk about some injuries on set, but apparently it's a lot worse than we thought. So we're going to talk about that. This is not a good look, especially for a show that prides itself on being so progressive.
Right, and inclusive.
Not a good look. Not a good look. So let's talk about that. Before we get into it any further, please subscribe for more pop culture news, views, and rants, guys. Over 237,000 subs. Thank you for the support. We do cover pop culture news. We talk about comics. We talk about DC. We've talked about Batwoman in regards to the drama around the show, the ratings being terrible, and it's still getting renewed.
Yeah, there's clearly an agenda here. We talked about Ruby Rose prior because she was getting a lot of shit before this about, well, she wasn't,
She wasn't gay enough.
Yes.
She wasn't gay enough to be Batwoman. Yeah, because Batwoman is a lesbian. Shocker. The character's been out there for a while, but because she was pansexual,
well,
I guess.
and because she wasn't Jewish enough or Jewish.
Oh, she wasn't
something.
Jewish, yeah.
I forget. It was ridiculous. So she took all that shit. Now, I've never watched a show, nor am I ever going to watch a show, because the commercial that led into it just was, I was like rolling my eyes, because it was so stupid. I have no desire to see the show. But it is terrible what's going on. And I think this is indicative of other things, in the industry in general. We've seen it. That's why they're protesting with IATSE and stuff.
Yeah.
So here comes some more information.
Yeah, so I have to think that this is coming out. A couple reasons. One, it is Striketober, and there is all this talk about poor working conditions in Hollywood. And I also have to wonder if her NDA or gag order isn't up because, she was kind of... You could tell she wanted to talk more when she left, but she didn't come out and say it. But now she's just letting it fly. And it's been, about 2 years?
It's been that long? Yeah, I guess.
Yeah, so
I don't know. It all blends together at this point.
She might have had a 24-month gag order. She wasn't allowed to talk about it. She's talking about it now. So
yeah.
We'll talk about the Forbes article here, and then we'll go out to some tweets from Discussing Film that breaks it down in more detail. Ruby Rose unloads the real reasons she left Batwoman, NUKES executives, and the showrunner. Very progressive show, though.
That's right.
Very progressive show. Ruby Rose's exit from Batwoman after a single season as its lead when the show had already been renewed always seemed extremely weird.
Right, it was weird.
It was weird. At the time, it was painted as her decision, and she and those working on the show exchanged mutual pleasantries. They always do this when they fire somebody. They don't want it to be a spectacle. It's like, oh, we wish so-and-so the best. Everything's great. It's because they signed a deal. They signed some paperwork. You're not allowed to thrash the
Disney
show.
does it all the time. Well, just in general. Like, oh, they're choosing to leave. Yeah.
Yep. Something about how she didn't like long filming hours was the closest we got to an actual explanation. She did get hurt on set. We knew that. She talked about getting hurt. Now we have more answers. She took to Instagram to absolutely unload on the CW.
It's okay. A lot of us want to unload in the CW, mostly because their shows are shit. But
Yeah. Hopefully, they cancel Powerpuff. It sounds like
I still can't believe that one.
She detailed allegedly horrific working conditions on set, both for her and other cast and crew members, and all paints a pretty clear picture of why she left or was effectively forced to leave after a single season. Here are the bullet points. We'll go out and read some tweets.
Yeah, we have the actual, the Discussing Film put the actual Instagram post up.
Yeah, Rose was forced back to work incredibly quick after serious injuries.
That was in 10 days.
Wow. With the implication being that the entire crew would lose their jobs if she didn't. Rose says that the showrunner, Carolyn Dries, only visited the set 4 times a year and was rushing to finish the season during COVID when everyone else was shutting down. Rose details numerous stunt person injuries on set. Yeah, we know this. This has been documented, pretty well documented, right? She said that there was a burn injury so graphic that they witnessed in real time that she laments the network not offering anyone therapy for it. Rose accuses former WB TV exec Peter Roth of inappropriate behavior, like having women steam his pants while he was still wearing them, and then having Rose investigated by a private investigator after she left the series.
Wait, why would you want someone to steam your pants while you're wearing them? Because steam is hot. I've used the steamer. I mean, I'm trying to figure that one out. I mean, to me, it's like
birth control.
I was gonna say trying to kill the
It's
sperm.
like steam the boys, because they always tell guys to take a dip in the hot tub before they do stuff because it boils the boys.
I don't know.
It's kind of like the boil and bag rice they used to have. You put it in the.
I'm just like, dude. I mean, make sure you put it on the cool air steam, I guess. But still. There is such a thing, but it's just, oh my God.
So this is Paul Tassi from Forbes, one of the few gaming journalists I would say I actually do like. I think he's pretty fair. But he said he reached out to the CW for comment, and he'll update if he hears back. I doubt you will.
I doubt you will either.
This is such a public situation now. I have to imagine there will be some sort of response.
Well, there will be some sort of response. They're just not going to reach out directly to him. They'll just put some public response out and try to run and hide.
Yeah. So this is, they brought in Dougray Scott too. Ruby Rose alleges co-star Dougray Scott abused women on set too. So let's go out to these tweets. This is her.
This is the
Instagram.
Discussing Film has the Instagram post that she had made. They have it here. That's
All
the
right.
tweets. And when you say tweets, you meant Discussing Film's tweets about her Instagram.
Yes. So it's complicated. Yes. This is her Instagram post. Discussing Film has compiled them all. And now we're going to go down the rabbit hole.
Yes.
We're not talking about Alice on the show either.
Oh, that's
It's
right.
not the rabbit hole. Although the way things are going, the new Batwoman could go down the rabbit hole.
No, you're not allowed to show that. Oh, maybe that's just in comics. Maybe that's just if you're a guy doing it to a girl. I don't know. Go ahead.
Anyway, dear CW, enough is enough. I'm going to tell the whole world what really happened on that set. So I think her gag order is up. Peter Roth, you're first up. You're chapter 1. Not sure if you left after getting promoted to the highest position because you just couldn't stop making young women steam your pants around your crotch while you're still wearing said pants, or if you left after putting a private investigator on me when you'd fired.
Who you had fired as soon as the report didn't fit your narrative.
I really wish she'd written this in Comic Sans.
Right.
Because I could have read it easier.
Either way, when it comes to you, there's already an army waiting for you.
Oh boy. Cut to 3 weeks after this video. It's worse than abnormal. This was diagnosed years ago on set, but if I got x-ray, we wouldn't make our day. I have documented this for years.
Basically, they wouldn't let her get an x-ray when something was wrong because they wouldn't make their schedule that day.
Yeah. On top of that, I have enough documentation to make a 1-hour documentary. Pray tell, what else would you like me to share? The broken neck or the broken rib split in two, and the tumor. The tumor. I know she did have an accident on set. She did have all kinds of issues.
Ribs split in two. Oh my God, that had to hurt. You've had broken ribs.
I have broken my ribs more time than any person should be allowed to. I don't know why. It's once they break in a particular spot, they're very easy to re-break.
And you just broken it like 2 or 3 times.
Squid King headbutted me.
One was our kid
5.
headbutting you. He called it what, bonk heads, and usually that involved him slamming his head into you somewhere. And you slipped on ice like twice.
Well, that's how I broke my ribs the first time. I slipped on ice. I actually slipped on ice on a hill, and ice. It was Pennsylvania weather, and I actually rolled down the hill into the woods, and I slammed into a tree, and I should have probably have gone to the hospital, but I don't do that.
No, he doesn't. And then he fell at work one time, and then he broke it at Disney, which we talked about because of the stroller incident where he went to our daughter stopped. He stopped short. He had to stop, not trip over her, and then he fell and tore his arm all up and broke a rib again. Anyway, that's neither here nor there.
It's not about me. It's about Ruby Rose.
To everyone who said I was too stiff on Batman or Batwoman. Sorry, she just Batwoman. Batwoman. Imagine going back to work 10 days after this. 10 days.
10 days.
Okay, yeah. Anybody have an excuse to be stiff if they had that happen and then went back to work within 10 days. Or the whole crew and cast would be fired, and I let everyone down because Peter Ross said he would recast, and I just lost the studio. I just cost. I'm sorry. This is
really a poor choice in font.
The studio millions by getting injured on his set. That something be the
one who cost
so many people their jobs. Basically translation. Peter Roth apparently said that if she didn't come back to work, people were going to lose their jobs, and he was going to recast them.
Yeah.
And instead of spending half a day to rewrite me out for a few weeks to heal, so they wouldn't rewrite her out. They threatened if she didn't come back, they were going to recast the character.
It gets better.
Imagine taking a huge pay cut to play a passion project and being so excited about Comic-Con and then being told they would not adjust the schedule so I could attend. But then saying we won't announce it, you have to. And me putting my foot down and saying, why must I be the face of this? Only be told if I didn't do this video, they would be silent and people would turn up and to find out on the day I wasn't there. I folded. I wanted to do what it took, but then I'm trying to read this at a weird angle. But then being told cover your scar, we don't want to see that scar on the video, and you wonder why I posted my surgery video.
Okay, so I do remember this. I remember she didn't show up for Comic-Con. There was speculation that she didn't show up for Comic-Con because there was a lot of behind the scenes.
They said they acted like she was like throwing a hissy fit or something.
They acted like she was being a big baby about things, and it sounds to me like this was a much more serious situation, and they wound up recasting her anyway. And then what's so weird about it is they wound up recasting her. They made sure they made the progressive choice, and it turns out that they're a bunch of shitbags.
Imagine that.
Apparently,
Hollywood's a bunch of shitbags. You don't say.
Yeah, right.
Who knew? So in closing, please, to my dear fans, stop asking if I will return to that awful show. I wouldn't return for any amount of money, nor if a gun were to my head. Nor did I quit. I do not quit. They ruined Kate Kane, and they destroyed Batwoman.
Wow.
So you can capitalize Kate Kane, not Batwoman. Not me. I followed orders, and if I wanted to stay, I was going to have to sign my rights away. Any threats, any bullying tactics, or blackmail will not make me stand down. Hey, I gotta respect her for that. She's like basically said, okay, I'm out, because they were going to make her,
They were going to bully her, yeah.
They were going to gag her.
Yeah.
You
know what? I wouldn't do it either. I'd be like, fuck you. I'm done.
I mean, you want to see a strong woman? This is a strong woman, because they tried to to leverage shit and tried to give her crap, apparently, according to her take. And she's like, I'll quit first. I respect that. If it's true, it's awesome. Then it says, Black women make a stand down. Okay, a crew member got third-degree burns over his whole body, and we were given no therapy after witnessing his skin fall off his face.
Oh,
God.
Oh, God. That makes me cringe.
Oh, my God, that poor man. But I was the only one who sent him flowers and cards, and then we're told we had to do a sex scene without a minute to process. So what, they watched this guy
get his face
and then they had to go do a sex scene. We lost two...
With the guy who got his face burned off?
No.
Because that would be...
No.
Oh,
I think no. I think that happened, and then they said that they didn't even give him time to process it or make sure the guy was okay. You're probably worried about this person.
Yeah.
And then, sex scene.
It makes it kind of hard to...
Yeah. Well, since it's two women, you don't have to worry about hard. We lost two stunt doubles. I got cut in the face so close to my eye in a stunt that I could have been blind. I do remember hearing about that.
Yeah.
A woman was left quadriplegic, and they tried to blame it on her being on her phone. So
yeah, we had that. We have proof of that.
So CW didn't even help her to start with, because they needed to investigate. So she had to do a GoFundMe. She's a production assistant. They work via phones. She was on her phone, and because she was working, she was doing what they asked her to, probably.
Yeah.
Her accident occurred because our show refused to shut down when everyone else did because of COVID.
All right. Now we're getting into Caroline Dries or Dries. There we go.
Has no heart and wanted us to finish the season throughout the pandemic. And I told her it was a bad idea. I told her everyone was too distracted, constantly checking COVID updates, checking on Friends, and seeing Riverdale. The Flash and Supergirl shut down already. Capitalization is your friend. I felt something bad would happen, and Caroline maybe visited the set 4 times in a year, unheard of. But in those 4 to 5 visits, she decided she could tell me she knew my injury happened on set, so I should comply with
private investigator.
Yet later denied it entirely and said it happened during yoga. I don't even do yoga. And now someone will never walk again. We shut down the next day, not because she almost killed someone, but the government pulled it. Also, I fought people on set. Yes, not because I wanted to, but because I wanted safety. Ask anyone in hair and makeup what I did for them. After 2 were hospitalized, the only people who came out and spoke was Dougray, who talked about professional. Called my agent after my exit to find a way to leave the show too, in which she replied, "Break your neck, I guess," and then he slammed her in the press.
Okay, so this is starting to make more sense. So there were all these rumors out there that she was being incredibly diva-esque and difficult on set, and they were looking for a way to get rid of her. And it turns out that probably is true, but not for the reasons, okay.
I never raised my voice on a set, never have. Dougray heard a female stunt double. He yelled like a little bitch at women and was a nightmare. He left when he wanted and arrived when he wanted. He abused women, and in turn, as a leader of the show, I sent an email out asking for a no yelling policy. They declined. I was late one time because I was in the hospital, and whoever does these stupid leaks, I'm finding out who, but it's cameras. Who after I left the hospital said, yeah, well, maybe if people were not late, we would make our days. A kid. An egomaniac kid who worked 1 day a week, had the audacity, or the stunt department who were furious, even though I never blamed them. But I went on phone and spoke of my injury and didn't play the game. Aside from them, I was loved and loved my crew. Oh, and they wouldn't drive me to work and knew I couldn't legally drive up to surgery, so they said, get a taxi.
Here's some money on the nightstand there, Ruby. Wow. That is some shit. So yeah, this is not a good look. Not a good look for the CW. It is making the rounds. Again, two sides to every story, but it is interesting that, there were all these rumors about Ruby Rose being a diva, and if this power struggle was going on back channel.
Well, this stuff was happening. It's understandable. I mean, you have a big, massive injury, and they don't want to let you have X-ray on set, and then they want you back in 10 days after. Okay, we're talking like surgery for breaks, like breaking neck and stuff like that. 10 days. Yeah. So they talked about Dougray Scott here on CBR.com. Like Rose, Scott has exited Batwoman, having played the father to Rose's Kate Kane for 2 seasons. An actor with his pedigree and reputation elevates any project, according to Caroline Dries. Mm-hmm. And he had great chemistry with his castmates. Was that when they were steaming his pants?
When they were steaming his pants. We love telling Commander Kane's story for the last 2 seasons. We'll always leave the door open for him to return. Why is this show still on the air?
That's a good question.
Why is
it is a train wreck. There's so much crap around this show. The ratings are garbage.
The ratings are garbage. People weren't real happy with the sudden change in the lead. I mean, honestly, when the lead's out the door, it's time to shut the show down. Mm-hmm. But it's kind of going on like the Hogan family, where it's like, oh yeah, Valerie's dead. Her character's dead. Now we're just going to bring in, Sandy Duncan. But yeah. I think this might be the death knell for it, honestly, because I think after this, it's going to be incredibly problematic to keep the show going.
It's a mercy killing, honestly.
It's a mercy killing.
But, it's just like, you're hearing this stuff, and this kind of aligns kind of with stuff we're hearing from, like, with the IATSE, contract negotiation strike, and some different groups that have called out about the working conditions in Hollywood, and here you're seeing it again. It's like people are getting hurt. They're not even giving them time to process it. They're not taking care of the people like they should.
Yeah.
It's just all absolutely horrendous.
Got to get that streaming content. Honestly, I think the only reason that Batwoman is still on is they need content for HBO Max. They need DC content. Mm-hmm. I think that's the only reason it's still on. Personal opinion, because the ratings are terrible. Like, the ratings are awful.
Well, it says here, our thoughts are with her for a speedy recovery, said a rep from Warner Brothers. But then according to Ruby Rose, it's like they didn't even do anything to help her.
Yeah.
And they basically said it was her fault.
Yeah. Awful. I don't know. So again, 2 sides to every story. I'm thinking she had been gagged when she left, and that's probably up at this point. Because why else would you unload like this unless because it's Striketober? Just time to. I don't know.
It's the timing's interesting. The whole thing is just interesting, and a lot of it kind of lines up with stuff that was kind of released, but it was released with one spin, and now here you're seeing the other side of this.
So when people get these tips, and we get tips sometimes too, is the intention to get it out there in some distorted way to make one party look particularly bad? I'm going back to some of these Lucasfilm leaks. Is that indicative that there is a power struggle going on, but we don't know exactly what's going on, but they want to just kind of confuse the situation?
I don't know. I have no idea. I'm just saying in this one, it was like they kept trying to spin it like the media or people were wondering if she was being difficult. Yeah. And they let people apparently say that about her, and she's upset, which if it's true what she's saying, I don't blame her. I'd be upset too. Yeah. Because if she was out there doing what she could to help people and, sending flowers to the one person injured when they wouldn't do anything and trying to help get conditions be better for people on set, and then they're telling everybody that she's a diva and doesn't want to work. Yeah. I mean, I'd be pissed too.
Yeah, I would.
And the fact that she just up and just left instead of having to deal with it all, or agreeing to be gagged, further gagged, to me says that maybe she is telling the truth because she literally walked away.
Yeah, that was weird. I mean, she's given her own show. They make a huge deal about, oh, look, we've got a woman in the bat suit in the bat cave, fits a woman, and then she's gone after a season.
Right. So, I mean, we don't know, but it just seems to me that I don't know. It just seems that maybe that she's telling the truth. So.
And Hollywood continues to eat itself. Mm-hmm. All right, we're gonna wrap this one up. Please subscribe for more pop culture news, views, and rants, guys. We'll talk later.
Bye.